Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Taxi! This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And now we have, let's go to Washington, D.C. I understand, standing in the street someplace in Washington is General Teichert, and he's going to give us a up-to-date update on what's going on in I guess, Tehran and Tel Aviv.
Yep, and obviously he's a retired from the Air Force, U.S. Space Force also, and he was Assistant Deputy Undersecretary of the Air Force, so certainly qualified. General, what's the latest?
John and Rita, thanks for having me. And just off of the wire is the fact that now the Kurds, and I'll describe them in a bit, are starting to flow out of Iraq into Iran as a part of a ground invasion to start taking back territory and overthrowing the regime. The Kurds have their own semi-autonomous region in the northern part of Iraq. There's 40 million of them, the largest people group that doesn't have their own territory, and they are fierce fighters and Western aligned, and that is now the next stage in what is going to be an overthrow of the regime in Iran. So, General, it looks like everybody has circled around. Saudi Arabia is going to start using their own airplanes, and all the rest of the Arab nations have joined them. This is the world against Iran, other than maybe China and Russia. Well, Iran has been the most hated regime for everybody in the Middle East for the last 4.5 decades. They don't just hate Americans. They have ruined lives throughout the Middle East for 47 years, and now those Arab countries are thrilled to get back at them and demolish the regime.
General Teichert, I want to get back to the Kurds, because that's amazing. That's a huge amount, and I'm familiar with the Kurds, and I want to ask, what do they need to do to overtake the regime from the ground? Let's talk about this, because obviously it's been pounded from the air, pounded the sea. Obviously 17 ships have been taken out, a lot more probably even since then. And now we're finding out that there are reports out there that they're being equipped by the CIA and others. Explain how that might work. Rita, they are the fiercest, best equipped fighters in the Middle East. And I call this the Syrian model, where in Syria, the revolution from a year ago, that the opposition started in an area of sanctuary and then started to gain momentum as they drove towards Damascus. The Kurds are going to do the exact same thing, but their benefit is they're going to have air cover from the Israelis and the United States. And so now as they radiate towards Tehran to take territory, they have all of the benefit of American and Israeli air power. They're going to support them, and that's why it's going to be massively effective. Judge Weinberg.
Good to talk to you again, General. And there's a very strong relationship pre-existing with the Israelis and the Kurds. The Israelis have been protecting the Kurds against the Islamist fascists all along. They've been protecting the Christians and other minorities. So it's a natural alliance. The one thing that's very troubling is, what is Turkey going to be doing? Because Turkey has a hostile relationship to the Kurdish community.
That is a great question, and you're right. The two friends that the Kurds have had consistently are the United States and Israel, and you're right that because of Kurdish opposition forces in southern Turkey, they're a little skittish about it. But I think Iran just helped us out today when they lobbed a ballistic missile towards Turkey, and now Turkey hates Iran just as much as everyone else, and I think they're going to put up with what the Kurds are doing because of what happened today. That'll do it. That'll get you engaged.
I think their strategic plans should rethink their position. They're shooting at everybody. How does that make friends and influence people?
Nope, I think they're shooting their own selves in the foot by launching every ballistic missile towards another country in the region.
Now, General, this is Rudy Washington. The Democrats are not going to even be wise enough to stop talking about boots on the ground. We got an army on the ground now to go after the IRG, man on man.
That's exactly right. And this is a capable army that likely has been well equipped for months now. Those Starlinks that flew covertly into Iran recently likely went to opposition Kurdish groups in the region. So now they are able to coordinate with one another and coordinate with U.S. air support to demolish the Iranian forces there.
So walk us through timetable. You know, President Trump came out a little bit ago and said that they're ahead of timetable. He also brought up a great point too, that he said nobody wants to be the leader of Iran now because they've taken out, first they took the first group with the Ayatollah and the 49 others, and then yesterday they took out the guys who were voting for the new ones. They wiped
out the whole bench, Rita.
Right. He made an interesting joke that we had some people on inside, but some of them were in some of the bombings that are no longer with us. So are there people on the inside that are maybe don't want to get hit?
Well, I'm sure that's the case, but I think from the first moment of this on Saturday morning with that surprise attack, Iran has been fighting deaf, dumb, and blind. We're going to continue to pound targets that are power projection like ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones, but we're also starting to shift to pounding internal security sites, especially in the northwest of Iran, to provide support before the Kurds get there so that it's a cakewalk for them as they start marching out of Iraq and towards Tehran.
Yeah, and how long could that take? I mean, what timetable?
It's unknown. I think that the president is wise to say 4 or 5 weeks, in part because it shapes expectations here in this town in Washington, D.C., but it also reminds the regime that they just can't wait us out, that we're in this to win it, and we're firmly going to do that. And now we've got the Kurds on our side, and we've got ground forces, not our boots on the ground, but theirs doing our bidding for their best interests as well.
Wow, that is an extraordinary moment. I'm telling you, we are witnessing history.
If anybody deserves their own country, it's the Kurds.
Absolutely.
It is. They have a slogan that only the mountains are our friends, but fortunately they also have friends in the United States and Israel, and maybe they'll have their own territory after all of this.
Yeah, and maybe Turkey will back away at minimum. So that would be an interesting, what a moment this is. General Teichert, thank you.
Thank you, General, and thank you for everything you've done for our country and continue to speak out for our country, and God bless you.
Thank you.
No, God bless you guys. I've got good friends up in the Kurdish region. I'm excited for them.
Yep.
That sounds great.
Yep.
Thank you.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.